This is TVC News at 10. We'll begin tonight with politics as the All Progressives Congress intensifies preparations for the 2023 general election. Chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum, Atiku Bagudu, says APC may use indirect primary mode to pick its candidates for next year poll. This comes as the party's National Executive Committee devolved its powers to the National Working Committee for a period of 90 days. The decision was taken at the end of its NEC meeting in Abuja. President Buhari also admonished party members to work in unity in the interest of all. Correspondent Abida Lawa has details.
It's the first meeting of party executives since the National Convention. The business of the day here is to take critical decisions and resolutions that will set the pace for the party's activities over the coming months. One of the critical decisions was devolution of powers by the highest organ of the party to the National Working Committee, which means decisions can be taken without recourse to the NEC. Members were asked to refrain from flaring up grievances, but to make Putin the party first their watchword.
It is said that when two elephants fight, the grass suffers. Similarly, when two powerful groups of politicians fight, the party suffers because it is trampled up underfoot by rich and powerful men. We cannot let this continue because it constitutes clear and obvious danger to our party. We must have the courage not to be mean-mouthed about it. The serving governors are the leaders of our party in the various states.
We call on all party members to abide by all extant laws, rules, and regulations, and to leaders of our party to avoid imposition of candidates that cannot win popular elections.
Members of the NEC also asked for due process to be followed in the party's activities, leading to the primaries that will produce candidates at all levels. President Muhammadu Buhari also emphasized that the NWC should work to keep the party together.
Survival and self-preservation is the first instinct of any human being. In terms of primaries, please, let our members, I'm not asking for favors for our members, but let our members have a fair shake in the primary.
I'm constrained to go out of context so that the National Working Committee will be more encouraged that they should go, please, by this. The constitution of the party. Please, how did the APC come about? The PDP sought all the time would remove them and they choose time to be endless. We recognize it. When I say we, ANPP, ACN, ABGA, CPC, and another party. We formed committees, and we gave the committees terms of reference to go and discuss how we can wrest power from PDP. They are not to take decisions, but they will take recommendations to their respective parties.
The proposed schedule of activities for the 2023 general election has been released by the party. It pegs the cost of the presidential ticket at 100 million naira, which is the highest of any political party. Now the ball has been set rolling, and the APC has its eyes set on the general election with the hopes of winning majority votes again. Habida Lawal, TVC News, Abuja.
Meanwhile, the APC has released its primary election timetable for various public offices ahead of the 2023 general election. The timetable was released by the party after its National Executive Committee meeting on Wednesday in Abuja. The party's presidential candidates will now pay 100 million naira for the nomination form, while the governorship candidates are to pay 50 million naira. The price of nomination form for State House of Assembly is pegged at 2 million naira, while that of the House of Representatives is 10 million naira and the Senate 20 million naira. According to the schedule, a notice of election to state chapters would commence on 22nd April, while sale of forms for the various public offices will begin from 23rd April to 6th May. The party has also approved a 50% reduction in the price of nomination forms for individuals under the age of 40 years. With the price slashed down, purchase of the nomination form for the presidential election for under 40 years is now 50 million naira instead of 100 million naira. Governorship candidates 25 million naira instead of 50, while those vying for the House of Representatives will pay 5 million naira and the Senate hopefuls 10 million naira. Away from politics now, President Muhammadu Buhari says the Boko Haram insurgency has neither religious nor ethnic underpinning, and with adequate education, majority of Nigerians now know the truth. The president disclosed this when he received Karen Ahmed Khan, Chief Prosecutor of the International Criminal Court at State House, Abuja. He added that with concerted public enlightenment, it had become clear to the people that Boko Haram was a perversion of religion rather than Islamic ideology. He told the visiting ICC prosecutor that God is justice and it's absurd to kill innocent people in the name of God. He said the notion that Western education is unacceptable is very fraudulent, and that's why the federal government is fighting them and educating the people. The ICC prosecutor said extremism was like cancer, which spreads and can also recede, noting that what Boko Haram does in collaboration with the Islamic State of West African province is perversion of religion. He urged Nigeria and other Sahel and Lake Chad basin countries to get to the United Nations Security Council to refer the atrocities committed by the terrorist groups operating in the region to ICC for investigation and subsequent trial. And the Nigerian Air Force has confirmed the death of 2 officers in the crash involving one of its trainer aircraft in Kaduna State. NAF Director, Public Relations and Information, Air Commodore Edward Gapquet, in a statement today, identified the officers as Flight Lieutenant Abubakar Alkali and Flight Lieutenant Elijah Karatu. He revealed that the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Oladayo Amao, visited Kaduna a day after the aircraft crashed to commiserate with families, friends, and colleagues of the 2 pilots. Meanwhile, the Chief of Air Staff has ordered an investigation into the cause of the Super Mushak trainer aircraft crash. Air Marshal Amao's directive has come on the heels of a visit to the families of the 2 pilots that lost their lives in the crash. Sifadesian has more.
The Nigerian Air Force mourns the death of 2 of its officers. Flight Lieutenant Abubakar Alkali and Flight Lieutenant Elijah Karatu lost their lives in the Super Mushak aircraft crash on Tuesday at the Air Force base in Kaduna. Sources say the pilots were on routine training. The Chief of the Air Staff, in a condolence visit to the families of the deceased, also ordered an investigation of the cause of the crash. In the last 18 months, the Nigerian Air Force has recorded at least 4 incidents involving its aircraft. On February the 21st, 2021, a Nigerian Air Force Beechcraft King Air NAV 201 crashed while returning to the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport after reporting an engine failure. All passengers on board lost their lives. On March the 31st, 2021, a Nigerian Air Force Alpha Jet NAV 475 went off the radar. It had 2 crew members who were never found. On May the 21st, 2021, another Nigerian Air Force Beechcraft King Air NAV 203 crashed near the Kaduna International Airport. All 11 military personnel on board, including the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Ibrahim Atairu, died. On July the 18th, 2021, a Nigerian Air Force Alpha Jet was downed by enemy fire between Zamfara and Kaduna State. And now, the Super Mushak trainer aircraft went down at the Air Force base in Kaduna, killing all the crew members. During the condolence visit to the 401 Flying Training School, Kaduna, the Chief of the Air Staff assured the Air Force personnel that measures will be put in place to prevent future occurrence. In a telephone conversation, Group Captain John Ojikutu, retired, said much as the Air Chief has ordered an investigation into the incident, the outcome would never be made public.
The report of an incident of an accident belonging to the Air Force aircraft can never be made public. Okay.
He says what is paramount is that lessons are learned from the accident. A plane crash indicates that something went wrong, but for experts, disclosing the cause of a military plane crash may amount to giving the enemy an advantage. Sifon Essien, TVC News, Abuja.
The Inspector General of Police says expert advice is being sought in the case of the death of gospel singer Osana Chiwezi. Mr. Peter Nwachukwu, the man being held by the police for allegedly being responsible for his wife's death, has been brought before the IGP following an advocacy visit by the Minister of Women Affairs. Family of the deceased gospel singer Osana Chiwezi of the Ekweme fame, who were also present at the meeting, are pressing for justice. We have details in this report.
The Minister of Women Affairs wants speedy delivery of justice in the case of the death of Osana Chiwezi, the gospel singer who died allegedly as a result of physical abuse suffered from her husband. That's why she has led an advocacy visit to the Inspector General of Police.
The revelations revealed to me from the children, it coincides with most of what you've been reading on social media. Our heart is broken. Osana Chiwezi's death is one out of so many that we cannot let go.
The police chief discloses that the investigation is advancing and expert advice is being sought from the National Hospital and the Minister of Justice in the case.
Meanwhile, in all cases of this nature, there is an expert opinion which is required. And it is because of this that the police have approached the National Hospital where the corpse is deposited to conduct a postmortem examination to get an expert opinion as to the cause of death. As soon as this opinion is received at our end, we will finish our investigation and charge the suspect to court for possible prosecution. It is a matter that will impress the entire nation. It is a matter that will impress the government, and therefore the Office of the Attorney General will also be involved in looking into our investigation for them to do the arraignment and possible prosecution.
The presence of Mr. Peter Nwachukwu, Osana Chiwezi's husband, who is being held for being allegedly responsible for his wife's death, triggered emotions from the deceased singer's family members. Since the gospel singer died, there have been growing agitations for justice over her death.
Now, 4 years after President Buhari's rejection of the bill seeking its creation, there's rising hope that the Nigerian Peace Corps may finally be legally established. The National Unity Peace Corps is confident there will be a halt to rising insecurity in 3 months once the Corps is established. Jackie Adisa has more.
12th of April, the Senate passed for third reading the Nigerian Peace Corps and National Unity Corps bills. In 2018, President Muhammadu Buhari declined assent to the Peace Corps Establishment Bill over security concerns and financial constraints. The 9th National Assembly revisited the legislative exercise, and the 2 bills submitted by the 2 Peace Corps organizations have now passed the third reading at the Senate. For many Nigerian youths, it is hope kept alive as they look onto the House of Representatives for its concurrence to the bill.
Almighty God continue to bless your good work.
The National Unity and Peace Corps is assuring the government of an end to the spike in insecurity in 3 months once the agency is created. While it is confident of an imminent concurrence from the House, it appeals to President Muhammadu Buhari to assent to the bills this time in view of the high unemployment rate and increasing wave of insecurity in the country. It says the agency is proposed to generate its own funds.
President Muhammadu Buhari and then the Senate President and the powers that be and indeed the APC government are very willing to establish an organization that will secure the lives and properties of Nigeria through mediation, conflict resolution, community services, and youth empowerment.
The Commandant General says the bill has a blueprint to return Nigeria to its lost glory security-wise. Chinedu Ineji says with the legal backing for the call, there will be a formidable mediation mechanism to make bandits drop their weapons.
We are going to be loyal to the Peace Corps is expected to have a desk in all the entry points into the country. What it means is that after the Nigerian Immigration Service have done their routine duty and all the security agencies would have finished their own, you will now meet the Peace Corps. It is now the duty of Peace Corps to register all visitors into the country.
Among the cardinal objectives of the proposed agency is to enlist and orient youths as supporting agents for social order. It is also to detect, collate and analyze intelligence data on matters likely to cause breach of peace and security within the neighborhood. Joke Edsa, TVC News, Abuja.
We are staying in Abuja, where President Buhari has directed the Minister of Health, Usage Hanire, to submit a progress report by the end of next month on the indigenous production of vaccines in the country. The president gave the directive while receiving the leadership of the Nigeria Integrated Biopharmaceuticals Industries Consortium, led by Chief Executive Officer of FredLab. The president commended the consortium made up of European biotechnology companies who are collaborated with the Nigerian startup PIA Biopharma to establish a world-class biopharma industrial complex for the manufacture of vaccines and essential therapeutics in Nigeria.
Increasing the capacity for in-country production of vaccines and medical supplies has therefore become a matter of not just urgency, but of national security. As we saw, many nations who had developed comparative advantages in being centers of biopharmaceutical productions adopted a me-first attitude towards securing their citizens. These actions place developing nations, particularly those in Africa, at severe disadvantage. I therefore direct the Honorable Minister of Health and his team to work closely with the Nigerian Integrated Biopharmaceuticals Industries Consortium on the federal government support required for the actualization of the Nigeria Integrated Biopharmaceuticals Industries project within the next few months, and to submit progress reports for my review by the end of May 2022.
In other news, the police in Delta have rescued 5 underage girls who were trafficked from Rivers State and used as sex slave in a hotel in Ughelli South local government area. The police say a middle-aged lady, Joy from Patani, who's now at large, trafficked the girls and forced them to take an oath before they commenced the illegal act. Ikinamechi reports.
This 13-year-old girl here says she was tricked by a lady who introduced her to sex slavery. Her story, which is similar to 4 others here, is a pathetic one.
Provision. As we can't reach there, na shower work. And the woman can't tell me, say, no way to come back again. And as I won't come seize all my clothes. If I no work, I no go eat from morning to night. Then if I want the amount of money when tossing my work, you go give me food.
The woman carries go juju. The man can't give me candle with snap. The man tell me, say, any money I make, if I hide them, say I go die. I can't start the work. As I don't tire, now I can't escape.
Though they escaped from the brothel in Patani, they soon landed in another one in Ughelli South, which this lady operated with her escapee husband.
Now, I tell you, say they reach there on Wednesday. Then they say they go back. They beg my husband say on Saturday they go not go back to their village.
See, they don't hustle for like 2 days.
I mean, I don't know. Come I know they go to that department. My department is to serve drink. I don't know what they do reach.
The Commissioner of Police, who condemned the moral decadence in the society, disclosed more about checking rising cases of underage prostitution.
Lack of parental care on the part of the parents and what have you. Societal malaise generally can be accounted for all these things. They make money for her. At the end of the day, she gives them 1,000 naira in the morning. The remaining money, she takes the money. That one too is on the run. Efforts are on to ensure that we track her down to account for her deeds. In the interim, the girls have been brought here, rescued. An investigation is already ongoing.
In Nigeria, activities of pimps, underage prostitution, and the operation or ownership of brothels are penalized under Section 223, 224, and 225 of the Nigerian Criminal Code. A thorough investigation of these cases and the prosecution of those found culpable will serve as a deterrent to other offenders. Ikenna Amechi, TVC News, Asaba.
Women advocates are canvassing for the establishment of policies that will address workplace sexual harassment in Nigeria. Speaking at the official presentation of a document, the advocates expressed worry that more workplaces in the country are becoming unsafe for women due to lack of policies to address the situation. Helen Osamide-Ekins reports.
Sexual harassment and discrimination are not issues unique to Nigeria, but are experienced in workplaces all around the world. A recent research extract in the Federal Capital Territory by Hair Women Development shows that 3 in 5 women have experienced physical sexual harassment, which respondents reported in form of unwelcome touching, deliberate pinching, among others. 14% of the respondents revealed that they have been raped at work, while the major perpetrators of sexual harassment at work are seen to be supervisors, as 91% of such cases reported. Due to outdated Nigerian labor laws that do not directly address these forms of inappropriate workplace behaviors, many victims are not aware of legal options available to them at a toxic workplace. Cultures also do not offer employees the support they need to report such incidents. Here at this workshop on career barriers against young women in Nigeria, this gender advocate calls for policies that will address sexual harassment at the workplace, as many establishments are now becoming unsafe for women.
Some ladies have accepted it as their fate, like it's a normal thing. We just have to live by it. So we are here to discuss those policies, those laws, those procedures that would decide here, and then we'll push forward that they should be implemented.
They are also of the opinion that more sensitization should be done to educate women on situations that should be considered sexual harassment.
If young women are empowered with adequate tools to recognize and report sexual harassment at workplace, there are possibilities that they will excel in their careers and leadership aspirations. Helen Osamide-Ekins, TVC News, Abuja.
A lot of work still needs to be done to ensure no one is left behind, especially persons with disabilities in West Africa. Only 3 of the 15 member states have a legal framework that covers their inclusion in the region, where about 60 million of the population are persons with disabilities. Changing this equation is the essence of a 3-day regional meeting organized by ECOWAS in Abuja. Buyu Thomas has more, and we'll return with business news afterwards.
Yusuf Iodo is one of the few persons with disabilities who got an opportunity to crack the glass ceiling. He studied law and now works with the government, but he says this feat didn't come easy.
We are hoping that the law will be able to assist us so that we don't have to suffer the way we have suffered before. The generation coming will not have to suffer so much to go to school, suffer so much to access health care, which is very basic need, the issue of poverty, which is very rife.
Women with disabilities are more at risk of poverty and social exclusion. Nigeria's Minister of Women Affairs is seeking that their rights and equality be protected as she declared open this 3-day regional meeting of disability inclusion experts.
Into cognizance the inclusion of women with disabilities as a segment that experiences doubt and negative effects of those with disabilities. And this is unacceptable. We must give them a sense of belonging.
The meeting aims to validate the reports from a regional disability inclusion research initiated by the ECOWAS Commission, which partner says has some disturbing outcomes.
Which indicate that women and children with disabilities in ECOWAS member states frequently experience discrimination, and that this and other specific needs are commonly overlooked in national laws and policy-making processes.
The rights of people with disabilities to work and employment is frequently denied. Disabled persons, particularly disabled women, experience higher rates of unemployment, economic inactivity, and a lack of social protection.
In line with the call of action of the United Nations on inclusion and accessibility for persons with disabilities, ECOWAS is also ensuring the region fully implements the convention.
The Commission, therefore, calls upon all member states, government ministries, agencies, oversight institutions, and our development partners to work together to move the recommendations from this report to the reality.
Challenges of rising conflict and insecurity is increasing the persons with disabilities in the West African region, which makes immediate action more imperative. With so much ability in disability and the right opportunity, persons living with disability can contribute strategically and economically to the development and growth of any nation, and that is what the West African region hopes to achieve with this meeting. Moya Thomas, TVC News, Abuja.